Okay. Well, someone with a very healthy appetite for the weather is our good friend Landon Aydlett with the National Weather Service, who immediately jumped on when we were talking about school mascots earlier. So, Landon Hoffaday, always good to see you, man. It's been a while.
It's been a
Eight
while.
eight
It's
days
been a
to
week.
eight
Yeah.
eight
Jay
days to
was
be precise.
jonesing.
Yeah, 8 days to be precise on account of yesterday's
Right.
Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. But your beloved NC State Wolfpack. Thanks for representing your school on Tobacco Road.
Always got to represent. I don't know why you always have to mention food. 2 weeks in a row now, you've mentioned food before you come to me, and it's like you're egging me on or something. So
Therapy for
I don't know.
Jason. You know Jason's hungry when he talks about food. Right on. So work week, weather, back to school. A lot of schools going back to classes today, Landon. So what kind of weather are we looking at for back to
Definitely
school?
not a bad week for weather in our area. It's a little bit more stuff going on down far to the south in Micronesia, but for us in Guam, it's really not that bad. I'm going to turn my camera around right quick, show you some animations. And this is what we're looking at. Of course, we got the butterfly right out there in the radar imagery. That indicates the moderate to strong trade winds out over the open waters. That's just sea spray up in our radar beam. Otherwise, not much going on. Just a few quick, light passing showers, but farther to our south, there is a trade wind disturbance passing by to our south. That will keep to our south. But I'm telling you this right now, looking at some of the data, if this was all about 150 miles farther north passing over us, we would be looking at a different scenario this morning with much stronger winds and off and on showers. So it would have been a different scenario to wake up to, but that's going to keep to our south. Not that bad. Going to our infrared satellite, again, really not that bad. All the showers and thunderstorms, the tropical convection that's keeping well to our south, that's going towards Yak and Palau. And then the ITCZ is struggling across eastern and central Micronesia. That's going to be a near permanent feature for the weeks to come, as it's been the last several weeks, bringing much rainfall to Kosrae, Pohnpei, and Chuk states of the FSM. That's going to push gradually southward, hopefully bring some showers to Kapinga Meringue, where severe drought still persists across there, but they are starting to get some relief. I'm going to flip over to our water vapor imagery, showing that abundant dry air across Guam and more so at the Sinai. Those yellows, that's the very dry air across the Sinai and then on across the West Pacific towards Wake Island and the Dateline. The blues and the whites, those are the areas of increased moisture and much more showers and thunderstorms. Again, that's going to keep to our south and west, and we're going to have a fairly dry week ahead, except for some showers in midweek. This is yesterday's polar orbiting wind, sea-based winds analysis, showing those winds across the ocean. Here's Guam. We're looking at about 10 to 20 knot winds around Guam and the Mariana Islands, but these yellows, those are those stronger winds. And then we have this strong, powerful cold front. These winds are coming down this way, and they're generating large swell. These swell will come up towards Guam and the Sinai around mid to late week, and that's going to boost our seas and surf up just a little bit. So, Jason, if you want to cue up the slides,
Yep,
I will
gotcha.
go to that now and talk about what we're looking at for the week ahead. So, the main headlines we have right now: there is a high risk of rip currents through Wednesday morning along East Reefs. This could be extended as a season surf build across the region. The fire danger is high. We just crossed over our index of 500. That's an 800-point scale, and we just crossed above 500 today. So that means we are in a high fire danger. That will gradually increase through the dry season as it does this time of year. So again, limit your burning outside because that's going to be the big risk in the coming months as well, while the rainfall levels are minimal. Micronesia, ice surf advisories continue for Madro, Kosrae, Pohnpei, and Chuk, as well as small craft advisories for those locations. We are still issuing the drought information statement every 2 weeks, and that's only for Kapinga Meringue right now. Next slide. Current conditions here at Guam and the Sinai, we're looking at east winds at 10 to 15 miles per hour, mostly clear skies and dry. Just a few light showers passing near and south of Guam. Current temperature at 6 o'clock this morning, we're looking at 79 Fahrenheit, and that will increase through the morning. Another warm, humid day. Rainfall yesterday, we had none. The record for yesterday was 1.94 inches set in 1963, and month to date, that gives us 1.72 inches. We're still below for this time of the year. Looking at normal rainfall is normally 3 and a dime. Looking at the winds, next slide, Jason.
Yep.
This is the scatterometry again, and that shows we have a circulation here. I'm going to get to that a little bit later in the slides. That's near the Philippines, near Mindanao. And then looking just south of Guam, we see those yellows and reds south of Guam. That's that trade wind disturbance is passing westward, but we'll keep to our south, heading towards Japa. And the next slide shows the wider picture with the strong winds across all of eastern Micronesia, and then on toward the dateline where even stronger winds persist behind a cold front dropping into the Pacific. Going to the sea conditions, we're looking at combined seas today of 6 to 8 feet with an east swell at 5 to 7 feet. And looking at the plots here on the Retidian buoy and the Tenapag Saipan buoy, those seas will increase, and that's mainly the increased trade wind swell component that will be coming our way late Wednesday into Thursday. There is a small north swell about 2 feet that's going to keep the surfers and paddleboarders a little bit of action along Agana Boat Basin and Tumon Bay, but not much to speak of. Next slide. This is the U.S. Drought Monitor map for the Pacific Islands. Again, the exceptional drought persists at Kapinga Maringi, but hopefully they'll be getting some rainfall relief mid to late week and into early next week. And then otherwise, drier conditions are filtering into the northern Marshall Islands. And now the next slide, this is the JTWC map. That circulation in Mindanao, that has been upgraded to a medium area of development. Again, that's no worry for us, as that's moving onshore into Mindanao, and that's going to probably weaken, and I don't see much potential for that to develop into the South China Sea. So again, no threat for us, and that's going to move on farther west. Finally, the week ahead, today again, partly cloudy with isolated showers. That's about 10% coverage, drier to the north. Winds will be east at 15 to 20 miles per hour, so breezy and dry today. Combined seas 6 to 8 feet with east winds at 15 to 20 knots over the water, and the surf, high risk of rip currents along east reefs with surf of 7 to 10 feet, and north reefs 3 to 5 feet. Tuesday through Friday, we do have a little bit of a bump in moisture coming up late Wednesday into Thursday. We're looking at showers increasing to 40% coverage and mostly cloudy again late Wednesday and Thursday. Winds will strengthen to between 15 and 25 miles per hour, with combined seas building from 6 to 8 feet today to between 8 and 11 feet by midweek. That will mean we could see hazardous seas and surf by Thursday. This weekend, again, looks drier and much better for the weekend. So really, we're looking at those showers bumping up around midweek, but that might be a little bit more than what we're going to be looking at, as it's just a very small pulse of energy pushing through the area. It's dry season, so enjoy it while it lasts. It looks like it could continue into at least early next week, and then we could see a little bit of more moisture across the region mid to late next week.
That's good. That's good news, man. I always wanted to ask you, Landon, real quick before we let you go. You know, we try and, like, at least for me, right? Because I'm like the cinema dork here. You know, Chris is like Mr. News, and you know, Bree is, you know, she's forgotten more Guam news than most of us will ever know, right? But I tend to frame, you know, my knowledge of the world in terms of like movies. I can't think of too many movies that really focus on the craft of being a meteorologist, like a weatherman. What are your favorite movies when it comes? The only one I can think of is like The Perfect Storm.
Twister.
The Perfect
Twister,
Storm.
yeah.
I didn't like that one. I was so stressed out watching The Perfect Storm, and then, you know, it's like you want them to survive, and then none of them, they all perish out to sea. So I didn't like the ending of that one. Twister was always a classic, and I remember watching that over and over and over when I was in 9th grade, and I'm like, my gosh, it's incredible.
Good one.
Unfortunately, that
Yeah,
movie
Bill Paxton.
came out when I was living in a mobile home. And
Wow.
so these things are bad, and strong winds and severe thunderstorms, because you can hear everything. It's like you're in a tent. And there were some storms after Twister came out, and I feel like the trailer was rocking and rolling. You could feel the vibrations of the rain and the winds. And
Don't
I'm
come
like,
and
"There's gonna
knock
be
it
a
if the
tornado out
trailers
here.
are
We're gonna be
rocking.
rolling down the fields." So
Also,
was always a
Twister,
classic.
the soundtrack. I don't know if you remember this, Chris. The soundtrack for Twister, amazing soundtrack, had a unbelievable Instrumental by the great late Eddie Van Halen. Respect the Wind. It was during the end credits and everything like that. Amazing.
Okay,
That was
I'm
a
gonna
deep
go
cut.
YouTube that today. That's gonna be streaming today in my
Right.
office.
Yeah. There you go. Flashback. Thanks, Landon, for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
There you go.
Always.
Landon Aydlett, the National Weather Service. We do work week weather. Usually it's on a